You're watching Community Insight. I'm Andre Hollywood Evans. And today's top story, our special guest is here to share his vision for Boston as he enters the race for City Council at large. Please welcome Mr. Will Onuoha. Did I say
Yeah,
that right?
you
Okay.
did great, Mr. Hollywood. You did
All
great.
right. All
Can I call
right.
you Mr. Hollywood?
Yes, you can. Yes, you
You
can.
did absolutely great. Most people slaughter my last name, and I've got to a point in life where I actually like to see them try, and I make it easy. I tell them, if you're gonna say my last name, think of me like if you're in Hawaii, aloha,
I like that.
onoha.
I like
If you
that.
can't say that, just call me Will.
Okay.
Do not
Okay.
give yourself a heart attack.
Oh,
I
wow.
will not be
Okay.
offended.
Now, you're originally from Mission Hill,
Yes, sir, I
the
am.
real Mission Hill,
The
I might
real Mission
add.
Hill, yeah.
Yeah. And but you decided to get into the political arena
Yes, sir.
because as you was encouraged to attend law school.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to get into the political arena as opposed to being a lawyer?
So what happened to me was in 2005 when I graduated from undergrad, I went to
Hmm.
UMass Amherst. Um, a spot had opened up with Mayor Tom Menino,
Hmm.
and it was to be his district rep.
Hmm.
And a wonderful lady by the name of Patty McMahon
Hmm.
had told me about it. And what happened was, at that time, coming out of high school, I was on the mayor's youth council. So I was like, oh yeah, well, let's see, whatever. I thought I was going to just do it for a couple of years and go to the UN or something like that. My dream was to go to the UN, but what happened was I got sucked into city government. Tom Menino, once he got a hold of me, I never left local government, and I fell absolutely in love with it. So
Mm.
I served him from 2005
Mm.
to 2012 when I left
Mm.
him and went to law school. I was his district rep, so that encompassed all of, for District 8, which was all of
Mm.
Back Bay, Beacon Hill, Mission Hill, Fenway, in the entire Longwood medical
Mm.
area. That's
Mm.
what I did. I
Okay.
represented him in that district, anything from fires to development to, I sat on all the IAGs, which is, or impact assessment groups,
Mm.
if you
Mm.
will, all the task force that dealt with development for the institutions,
Mm.
the hospitals,
Mm.
schools, you name it. I did
Mm.
that as well. I helped with a ton of initiatives for economic development, dealt with people who were experiencing hardship from fires or emergencies, things of that nature. Um, Anything city services, from getting a pothole fixed to helping someone get a zoning, I mean,
Mm.
a liquor license, to helping them through the zoning process,
Mm. Mm.
if they were building a building or what have you. So it was a great boot camp for anyone who wants to get into city, who wants to get into local government. That's what it was. It was the boot
Mm.
camp.
Okay.
That was infantry.
Mm. So I take it that former Mayor Menino encouraged you to get in politics.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
absolutely correct.
And you
He,
fell in love with it, and you took it to a whole different level. So now you're running for city council at large.
yes, sir.
Now let me ask you: do you have any other aspirations you plan on stepping up? Like maybe running for a different type of office later on in your
Well,
future, like maybe mayor, governor, or
that's an interesting question, and truthfully, what it is when I first went to go work for Mayor Tom, and he asked me the same question, and
mm,
he said, "What do you want to do with your life, kid?" I said, "I
mm,
want to be governor."
mm,
Yeah. So I've always had that type of aspiration, believe it
okay,
or not. I thought I was gonna approach it from an angle where I went to the UN and try to be like,
mm,
the Secretary General of the UN.
mm,
At the
mm,
time, there was a man named Kofi Annan who I had studied a lot about and fell in love with. I was like, oh man, I want to be like that guy.
mm,
And then get into local politics. I was like, you know what?
mm,
Gubernatorialship seems pretty cool.
why not?
Why not?
Okay,
And so I've
mm,
had those thoughts.
okay. But right now you're comfortable where you are,
Yeah,
making a difference.
um, I'm worried about Boston.
Yeah,
I'm very worried about where we are.
yeah,
And
right.
people have said to me, they're like, this is a pay cut. Why are you doing this? And why do you want to leave where you are? You're doing fine. And
Yeah.
with all of that being true,
Mm,
um, I'm very deeply concerned in the direction our city is going. And
okay.
I think that Tom Menino would be turning over in his grave if he would say to himself, why did I train you guys to be public servants if none of you are ever going to use it to do for such a time
He
like this
served
when things are going
16
off to
years in his term.
20,
What to, 20.
20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 20 years he
So
served as
my
mayor.
question is, as far as I know, the first issue you're going to address is housing.
Yes, sir.
And we want to know the difference between affordable, because everybody talks about affordable housing. You came up with, workforce housing. Please explain the difference
Yeah.
between the two.
So workforce housing. So I was the housing commissioner for the city of Boston in two different capacities for about 10 years under Mayor Marty Walsh, which bled into Mayor Kim Janey's term and Mayor Wu's term until I left in about October of 2022. And so the way we did something while I was the executive director and commissioner of Office of Fair Housing and Equity, we did a study with a bunch of people, one being Dr. James Jennings. I'm not sure if you know him. As a professor at Harvard, the late Bob Terrell, the CAC, all kinds of folks. We came together to do for the Biden-Harris administration what is called an analysis of impediments to fair housing.
Okay.
Okay, so this was a study that took about 8 years. And what we found out is all the things that are impediments to housing in the city of Boston. What I'll say to you is that I can tell more about you, sir, from your zip code than any medical report can tell me about you. You know, housing controls your access to transportation, to schools, to jobs, to healthcare, and so on. You understand what I'm saying? So all of these things are in a polygamous relationship. They're married, if you will. When it comes to workforce housing, the study we did showed that basically nobody in the city of Boston is supposed to pay more than 20 or 30% of their income for housing.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The issue, most people say affordable housing, and that's part of the issue. The problem with affordable housing is that it creates a cycle of poverty. Here's why. You have to be poor to get into it, and you have to be poor to keep it. If you do a little better, let's say you make $5,000 more, maybe you got a promotion at work.
Eligible. Right.
Right, you price out. So now you have to make a critical decision. Do I take this promotion and do better?
Right.
And lose my housing and join the work, the market that the rest of us are in, trying to struggle for the little bit of housing we can get, that these exorbitant and skyrocketing prices? Or do I stay where I am and keep a roof over my head? And that is a question no person should ever have to answer. It's inhumane.
Yeah.
It's inhumane because we're supposed to want to do better. We're supposed to encourage people to do better, not stay stuck where they are.
Right.
You know, of course you need housing for people who are poor or who are on the very, very, very lower end of the income spectrum, sure. But they also need an opportunity to move up. And keeping it the way it is, you seal their fate. So if you develop workforce housing, what ends up happening is you do it through public-private partnerships. The city can partner with developers to build what I call an abundance package, right?
Okay.
How that looks is, so recently a development went in about 3-4 years ago called 345 Harrison Ave. Right there in Harrison Ave. It's a beautiful building. I mean, it's pretty expensive.
Talking about Ink Block?
It's right across from the Ink Block, exactly.
Yeah.
The city can develop that type of housing with a developer, but limit it so you have multiple income levels there. So how it works is, the average person in Boston, sir, makes between $59,000 and $61,000 a year. Boston got lumped in with Newton, Wellesley, Brookline, and I'm going to explain that in a moment. The Boston Globe wrote an article in 2024, in March of 24, that said, basically, in order for you to live comfortably in the city of Boston, just comfortably, just like a very, very regular person, you have to make $125,000 a year as a single person. Again, the average person makes between 59 and 61. The people that make that kind of money are in Brookline, are in Wellesley, are in Newton. That's not Boston. Those are more affluent communities than Boston, you see.
Right.
So when you create workforce housing, you create housing for any household that has an income of between $60,000 and $250,000.
Mm.
$250,000 could be two couples, a couple, man and woman, woman, whatever,
Right.
that come together. They're both doing about maybe $125,000 a year, but they will not pay more than 30% of their income in housing because they still need to be able to live, pay for student loans, take care of a family, kids, car, insurance, all the things that we have to deal with that is just part of regular life that drains us.
Yes.
Currently people are paying anywhere between 55 and 75% of their income for housing, which doesn't leave you much room for anything else. Basically, you're living only to work
Yeah.
instead of working so you can live. And so
Paycheck to
this is
paycheck.
exactly paycheck to paycheck. This is a very backwards system that it's un-American, it's not right, and it's not fair to the city of Boston.
Now, is there workforce housing available right now?
They're working on it, but no.
Okay.
Short answer is no.
So I take it that's be a top priority.
That would be my top priority.
And what is your plan or strategy of making that, being proactive?
So we already have an ordinance on a fair housing ordinance that's on the books. Mayor Wu passed in 2022. Why the city council isn't talking about it or helping to implement it, I do not know. And this is part, I think, of the reason why people consider the city council ineffective. Or as I've gone door to door knocking through campaigning, they call it a clown show.
Right.
Which has never ever been said ever about our Boston City Council. People find them to be very irrelevant because you have a lot of talk, no action. You have a lot of people that are basically treating themselves like celebrities instead of actually doing the work and fighting for residents of Boston or infighting between each other. Now, it's all right if you disagree, but to be disagreeable is a whole nother subject. You have councils that don't talk to each other. Like, can you imagine? So this is the first time in our lives we've ever seen a council this divided, disheveled, ununified, and it's hurting Boston big time.
Yes, it is.
Everything I'm saying are things that the council should be really, really talking about. I remember when these things got done, there was one counselor who was really big at pushing a lot of the housing stuff. Her name was Lydia Edwards. She's now a senator.
Oh,
we had the pleasure of working with her and doing a lot with her, but she was a strong vocal voice on the council about housing and the things around housing and other things. But she was very knowledgeable about that. And her and I actually come through actually the same kind of training. We come at it from different angles, but we were housing people. She was at one point I want to say the director of the Office of Housing Accountability.
okay.
And then from there ran for the council. I'm coming from it from a different angle, but with the same knowledge as the Commissioner of Housing, both at ISD and then the Office of Fair Housing and Equity, which really is a HUD office that was a watchdog over the city of Boston for housing, sir.
Wow. But getting into another subject matter, hospitals.
Yes.
We lost Kearney Hospital. My question is, what's being done about the replacement?
So the city I know has had in that neighborhood where Kearney Hospital currently sits, that part of Dorchester, there's been a lot of conversation, nothing concrete about what they think can happen with it. I mean, the state or the CEO and those guys, they dropped the ball. They did a major disservice to that community by what they did with Kearney Hospital. So there's ideas of them building something like what's on Brookline Ave, like where we have Harvard Vanguard, having a smaller scale hospital, but also using that land to develop and build housing. That's a thought. That's an idea that has been floated, which would make a lot of sense, unless one of the hospitals like Mass General or something or Brigham and Women's was to come in, completely take it over, buy that land, and build another space. I don't think anyone would object to that because you need a hospital.
I like the space between Brigham and Women's and Dana-Farber. You can walk from Dana-Farber to back and forth. They have a bridge they built, and it only takes maybe not even 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And why can't they do that with other hospitals, even BMC or Tufts Medical or any other facility?
Well,
I understand there's a lot of money
the
involved, but I
area,
mean,
you know, the Longwood Medical area. That's exactly what it is. They are well situated
mm,
for that.
I
That
see.
is
Dana
the
Farber has what, 3 buildings?
yeah. That is in fact the medical campus
Yeah.
of our city. Um, all the hospitals are situated a little bit differently, but um, it seems like they're always doing construction on the hospitals. At least it
Mm,
looks that way to me.
yeah, there's always something being built, torn down and rebuilt. It's just in that area though.
Yeah.
But that's what I was talking about. Kearney Hospital, that's like what, Ashmont, Fields Corner.
Yes, sir.
I feel bad for the people. They don't have no type of depot for ambos to pick people up because the time it takes to get into Boston
Yeah,
is at least 40 minutes. Now,
that's
if you're
true.
being rushed to the hospital, a lot can happen in that amount of time. What if somebody has a heart attack or someone has a stroke or something? How are they going to transport people? They have to come all the way into
Yes.
Boston to either go to BMC or to Tufts.
This, in fact, is a major concern people are worried about, and that's a very legit question. And this is why um, a hospital in that area is extremely necessary.
Yeah. Even the
Extremely
pharmacies
necessary.
went out, I think it was Walgreens and
Yeah.
Warren Street. What's being done about that? I mean, at least have a clinic.
Yeah.
I mean, you got convenience stores in every corner,
That's
in
right.
every neighborhood. You have liquor stores in every corner, in every neighborhood. Why not have a clinic?
A clinic.
I don't get that.
And that you're right. And that is something that, again,
Mm,
things that the council should be paying attention to. These are the types of issues that they
mm,
should be trying to
mm.
push forward and work
Right.
with the city and steer the city in a direction to really, really focus on those kind of things. We haven't heard anything from the council about Kearney Hospital since
Mm.
maybe when it first happened,
Yeah.
which might have been back in February or
Yeah.
so.
Somewhere around there.
Couple
Yeah.
of
First of the
news
year.
clips. That's it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, that part of the city is in dire need of a hospital or
Mm.
some type of medical
Something. Yeah.
facility that can help save life.
Yes. Yes. And again, I hope something with you yourself when you get elected, make sure, be proactive and make sure something does to fulfill that space. Because again, those people have nowhere to go.
Right.
What other choice do they have? And I think also the fact I'm a visionary, nobody knew tells everybody that, but I think the next biggest business in Boston, especially, is going to be transportation. I
Say more.
honestly see that because think about it, everybody's going back to get their license. That's going to be a lot of cars on the road, more traffic. Um, Delivery, because you got DoorDash, you got all these different people going after these drivers and deliveries. They got carpooling,
Mhm.
taxis is going to come back, gypsy cab is coming back because there's a lot of people. There's so much in demand. Transportation, people need to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
People got appointments. The ride that picks up seniors
Yep.
is all by itself, and there's other transportation issues, but I think it's going to become resolved. I say by the end of next year, we're going to see a lot more cars on the road, a lot of different organizations providing service, between carpooling, deliveries. I see that happening. Plus, look at the problems we're having with public transportation.
Yeah.
The green
Yeah.
line is always stuck. It's always getting derailed. The orange line, the red line. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's a problem. And
That's true.
parking, forget it, that's a whole different issue.
Oh. Oh yeah.
That's a whole different. But I think
Huh.
transportation, they're going to resolve that. But that's up to the individuals. Though the politicians really can't advocate for something
Hmm.
like that because everybody's responsible to go out, get a job,
Yep.
go into business. And like I said, driving, people doing deliveries, it seems to be doing very well. I can see that
I
happen.
appreciate that take because what happens is if you follow the conversation of what they've been saying, they've been
Mm.
trying to get people to be more use bikes,
Mm.
which um,
That causes a
they
lot of problems,
it
though,
has caused a lot
because
of
they have to
problems.
have a lane for that, reserved
Exactly.
especially for that.
And Boston is not built for bike
No,
lanes. We
you're
don't
right.
have the infrastructure for it.
Mm.
It can work on some streets, but not on all streets like they've done it. So the way they've done it
Mm.
isn't right. And bike lanes aren't new. Mayor Tom Menino started it. In fact, there's a
Mm.
woman at the time who was his bike czar. Her name was Nicole Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
She was the bike czar for the city. But the reason it looked radically different than how it looks now is because they used traffic engineers to guide them. This one, city planners were like, oh, put it here, you know, that type of thing. And city planners are not traffic engineers. They're not. A radically different set of skill sets. And now we have what we have, and they're in the process of ripping some up and removing them and all that stuff. Tens of millions of dollars spent to do that. Now, you know, so Boston actually went up 3% for cars, to your point, sir. We've added 3% more cars to the city of Boston. You see, so not to mention, when you think about bike lanes, we have basically like 8 months of winter. Who is riding a bike?
I know, you're right. You're right.
You know, we have such a long winter that it's like, I don't know if you want to freeze to death. And, you know, I don't know if you've ridden a bike in the city of Boston, but I have lately. And I'm going to tell you, it is the most dangerous thing I think you could do.
Yeah.
It's not a practice. I'm going to try again anytime soon. I did the Best Buddies Challenge from with a bunch of colleagues from, you know, where you ride from Boston to Cape Cod, you know, the 100-mile bike
the
ride.
PMC.
Never
Another
again
marathon, yeah.
am I jumping. Even then, cars would almost knock me off the
Yeah.
road.
Oh, yeah.
So
They don't respect the bike lanes. Mass Ave has a bike lane.
and they can't see them a lot of times. We can't see them. There's no traffic light for them or anything like that.
That's another issue.
So it's dangerous, you know.
Extremely
And the numbers we report for bike lane related injuries or accidents is far higher than what they report. And if you ask emergency room folks and get their stats, or even the Boston police, it's a whole different than what the city touts. So, you know, we're not being very honest about the issues it's causing. However, and it's added to traffic ridiculously. You know, this is why it works in some places and it doesn't work in other places. Boston just doesn't have the infrastructure. We are a city that was old cow paths. That's what our roads were made of. You know, the Back Bay's landfill. So and there's small streets when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, we have to use some forward thinking and some common sense. It sounds cool, but we can't do everything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That every other city tries to do, because we're different and we're radically smaller than a lot of them. So many of them are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times the size of our city.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. But for those of you who are just tuning in, you're watching Community Insight. This is the news that brings you above and beyond the scope. And we're talking to Mr. Will Onuoha, and he's in the race for city council at large. So vote for him. And coming September, we hope to see a lot of change. But for more information, please log on to our website at thebeantv.com. That's thebeantv.com. You can also watch us on Mondays at 2 p.m. on Channel 15, and Cambridge coming soon Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on Channel 9 and Channel 8. So check us out, and hopefully we'll be able to resolve some issues. I know a lot of you got some questions. Y'all want to be a guest on the show, come on. We don't just have politicians, we have everybody. This is a community insight, and you know what community means. Residents, people even from out of town, out of state, and wherever you're from. Come on and, you know, give us your opinions. You know, we need you. You know, check us out, again, every Mondays at 2 p.m. on Channel 15 if you're in Brookline, and Cambridge at 7 p.m. on Channel 9 and Channel 8 on Tuesdays. And unfortunately, we're out of time, so my name is Andre Hollywood Evans, and I want to thank Mr. Will Onuoha for being with us today, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, sir.